Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and I'm Mitchell Renz. Today, I got the latest Raiders news and rumors, and I'm going to kick the show off with a little talk around Derek Carr. Now remember, I don't make up these rumors. I find sources on the internet, and then I give my opinion on them. So this one coming out from Raiders Beat, the Raiders trading Derek Carr. How many Chucky heads is this one? For me, I'm going to give it only one Chucky head, and I think that is a small shred of truth. You can think of me as like Mythbusters. I find a rumor, and then I'm going to crack it or not. So let's talk about Derek Carr. Let's talk about this trade. The article starts off by saying, nobody knows 100% of what the future holds for Derek Carr. Completely agree. Now, I still say that I think Derek is going to come back next year. But according to RaidersBeat.com, the only way that Carr is not the quarterback of the Raiders in 2020 is by a trade, because they will not cut him. I don't know if I 100% agree with that, and I also don't know if I 100% agree with the only way that he's not on the team is via a trade. Now, all the time, people are like, Mitch, why don't the Raiders just trade Derek Carr for a first-round pick? You can see it below. I think at the absolute most, you're going to get a third-round pick. The reason why I say that is because when you look at the way that Carr's contract is broken down, if you go out and look at what Carr has done the last 2 years, if an NFL team knows that you're not interested in the quarterback that you have, why would they give up even more? So people are always like, Mitch, well, what exactly could you get for a Derek Carr trade? So I'm going to give you two different examples, okay? So let's say a team values Derek, maybe like what the Saints valued Teddy Bridgewater, and said, we want Derek Carr to be a reliable backup quarterback. So this is what the Saints got for Teddy Bridgewater. Or actually, this is what the Jets got for Teddy Bridgewater. The Saints, they got Bridgewater and a 6th-round pick. They sent away a 3rd-round pick. Now, y'all know that I do not like this next quarterback whatsoever. However, it's a recent trade that the Denver Broncos made. They got Joe Flacco. In return, the Baltimore Ravens got a 4th-round pick. I do not think Joe Flacco is as good as Derek Carr, but the Denver Broncos thought that he was a starting-level quarterback. That's the important thing here, and they were willing to give up a 4th-round pick. So a 3rd-round pick and a 4th-round pick is what I think you would get for Derek Carr. So here's the question I'm going to present you with. What do you do with Derek Carr? I want you to type K for keep, type C for cut, or type T for trade. If you're going to trade him, again, you're only going to get a 3rd or a 4th. If you cut him, you're going to eat $5 million this year, and then you got to look for another quarterback out in free agency, or do you keep him? If you watch the show and you're a loyal watcher, you're going to know that I'm going to type my K for keep, but I will say this. Derek, you need to prove it this year. Now, I want everyone right now to turn on those notifications so you know exactly when I go live, so you don't miss my Raiders in prime time. I'm doing a Raiders report in prime time, baby. We're switching things up. 10 o'clock Eastern time, 7 o'clock Pacific time on Tuesday. I normally go live at around 6 p.m. Eastern time. Now, we're going to switch some things up. So make sure you subscribe, youtube.com/Raiders Report, and turn on the notifications because this show, legendary. Next one. Let's get into it. Don't make fun of me. The Raiders drafting Tua. This one's out there. Again, I'm not coming up with it. Look it up. Raiders, Tua. I'm only going to give it one Chucky head, though. And I do think that there is a small shred of truth. Okay? Small shred of truth. So at Chat Sports, we broke down a video. If you guys are curious, you want to go check it out, youtube.com/ChatSportsTV. We've put out our top 8 destinations for Tua. But according to NBC Sports, they think that if John Gruden falls in love with Tua enough, that you could potentially see them, the Raiders, trade up to go get him. It's interesting, right? I think what's even more interesting is, again, we made a video on Chat Sports, and then a day later, NBC Sports comes out with this amazing idea. Yeah, you watch, you subscribe, I appreciate you. Now, this is what Tua did last year. 33 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. You go back the year before that, pretty good year. Tua, a lot of people thought he was going to win the Heisman. If Shea Patterson would have won the Heisman, heck, Chat Sports would probably be bigger than ESPN with the amount of money we would have won. Now, this is a quote from John Gruden, or from NBC Sports on the Raiders drafting Tua. If Gruden loves Tua, there's a chance Gruden could try to package his 2 picks to move up and select the left-handed star. You hear that? They could trade their 2 picks in the first round to move up and get Tua. So this is what it would end up looking like. The reason why the Raiders would have to jump up and trade with the Giants is because all the rumors, all the reports right now are that Tua is probably going to end up going to the Dolphins because the Dolphins are interested in him. Now, the Raiders, they get the 4th overall pick. The Giants, they received the 12th, and the 19th pick. You can see on the right-hand side of your screen, would you make this trade? Y for yes, type N for no. I'm very curious on what you all got to say because this is something that we will continue to talk about the entire offseason. One more note, though. Giants, Dave Gettleman, does not normally make trades, so keep that in mind. But if they do make this, okay, I want you to think of that trade, and now I want you to think of this question. So for those of you that are watching on YouTube, you might get hit with an ad break. While the ad is playing, I want you to scroll on down. I'm going to make this the pinned comment. Would you rather keep Derek Carr, type DC, or would you rather draft Tua, type TT? So keep Derek Carr, DC, or draft Tua, TT. Next rumor on my list, Mike Mayock staying with the Raiders. I put this out on my show last week, and now all of a sudden it's popping up just everywhere. So I'm going to just clarify a little bit on a lot of the news, the rumors that I've seen around it. Last week I gave it 3 Chucky heads. This week I'm going to squash the rumors. Mike Mayock is staying with the Raiders upcoming year. There's news, there's rumors out there that he's not getting along with John Gruden, that he's not getting along with Mark Davis, that the people inside the organization are upset that Mike laid down his foot when Antonio Brown called him a you-know-what. And to be honest, I probably would have done the same thing, FAB. So the fact that there's a report out there right now that Mayock wants out due to the organization's, bad relationships. Vic DeFore then went on Twitter and said he wouldn't be shocked if Mayock left. He also said that it's just absolute speculation on his part. My only thing is the internet's pretty cool. Social media, pretty awesome. My Instagram's down below at Mitchell Renz 365 if anyone cares. But if you're on Instagram, you would have also seen that Mike Mayock and Mark Davis were in Vegas this past week and they went to a hockey game together. I don't know about you. I don't think I'd go to a hockey game with somebody that I hate. Call me crazy. Now, Mike Mayock deserves a ton of credit for this past draft that we had. And I want Mayock to stay because I'm excited to see what he can do with John Gruden with 5 picks in the top 100. But I'm genuinely curious on what you guys have to say on this one. Who deserves more credit for our rookies this past year? If you think it's Mike Mayock, I want you to type MM. If you think it's John Gruden, I want you to type JG. And if you want to know what I think, hit me up on IG at Mitchell Renz 365. If you want to go to a hockey game in Vegas, hit me up. All right, BetDSI, the internet's #1 sports book. You can see the link below. It's chatsports.com/bet. If you want to bet on the NFL playoffs, if you want to bet on who's going to win the Super Bowl, unbelievable bet deals going on right now at BetDSI, but you're only going to get it is if you use that promo. Raiders 120, 120% deposit bonus, guys. It's easy. You put down 50, you get 60 for free. If you want to know what games I'm betting on this weekend, slide in the DMs. All right, next 3 rumors. I know I'm going to get some hate for doing these next 2. It's all good. It's part of the show. Are the Raiders going to cut Tahir Whitehead? I'm going to give this one 3 Chucky heads, and I think that it's pretty likely that the Raiders move on from Whitehead. Now, before everyone calls me crazy, I just want you to look at the numbers, okay? That's all I want you to do. So Whitehead, when you go back and look at the last, since he's become a Raider, he's played in 90% of the team's snaps. He does turn 30 this upcoming offseason, so why on earth would the Raiders move on from him? Because the one thing I don't want people to look at when you look at Whitehead, I do not want you to just look at the tackles. Because people get lost in the tackles. The reason why he had so many, we didn't have a lot of depth, okay? And I get it. Getting rid of Whitehead, there's question marks around Vontaze Burfict. It's why I will still say that our biggest need is linebacker, and I don't even know if it's very close. Now, getting rid of a linebacker that has had over 100 tackles in 4 straight seasons might sound crazy. It might. But he doesn't really offer anything else in terms of getting after the quarterback. He doesn't offer anything in terms of forcing turnovers. And he is a serious liability in the passing game. If you disagree, go back and watch the tape. Tahir is a tackling machine, but it's because he has to be, because our depth isn't there, because he's playing so many snaps. The only way that Tahir Whitehead will be in silver and black this upcoming year is if he restructures his contract. I'm not sure if he's going to do that. So what should the Raiders do with Whitehead? I want you to type 1 for keep, and I want you to type 2 for cut. For me, if he doesn't restructure the contract, you got to cut him. You got to cut bait. You got to move on. You can save $6.25 million by cutting him. If you're going to keep him, though, he's got to learn how to play better defense in the passing game, because that's where we were getting absolutely ripped by running backs and especially by tight ends. So 1 for keep or 2 for cut. Let's talk about another player, Lamarcus Joyner. Yes, I get it. He was a big disappointment, and I've seen multiple articles out there that the Raiders can cut Lamarcus Joyner and it costs them nothing in dead cap space. That is simply not true. So are the Raiders going to keep Joyner? I'm going to give this one 3 Chucky heads. And I think it's pretty likely. And in fact, I was so close to giving it 4. The biggest reason why the Raiders are going to keep Lamarcus Joyner, you can't move on from him. He signed a 4-year, $42 million contract in 2019. I had high hopes for him. And there is no doubt that he was a, major disappointment. But cutting Joyner cost the Raiders $8 million. I don't think it's smart to cut a player and then you're going to eat $8 million when you need to be able to find out whether or not if the money that you gave him the first year, which was about $17 million, was actually worth it. You're going to hear me say it a lot this year. 2020 is a prove-it year for Joyner. The reason? Because if he doesn't prove it, then in 2021, then you can cut bait because it's a $0 million cap hit. He is going to be a free agent in 2023, and I hope that he can put it together. I will say this. He had to move around the field a lot. He was originally supposed to be that Swiss Army knife, and I think losing Carl Joseph, Jonathan Abram put Joyner in a tough position. But if you can't get it done with those players being healthy, Lamarcus, sorry, my man, you got to go. So what should the Raiders do with Lamarcus Joyner? I want you to type A for keep, type B for cut. Let me know in the comment section below. So if you're watching this on YouTube, if you see this video on Facebook, throw it in the comment section here on the Raiders Report. I want to know what you all have to say. So what should the Raiders do with Lamarcus Joyner? Type A for keep, okay? Or type B for cut. I also want to give a special shout out to today's other sponsor, BMW of Santa Maria and Community Volkswagen, right next to each other. Now, guys, I tell you all the time about amazing deals, so I went above and beyond. I picked out my top 2 deals on BMW of Santa Maria and Community Volkswagen. Deal number 1, you like this BMW X2? I know I do. You can save $14,000. Save $14,000. You can see it below. It's chatsports.com/BMW if you're interested in the deal 1. Now, let's just say, all right, Mitch, $32,000, still a little bit out of my price range. Luckily for you, Community Volkswagen, they got Hondas, they got Jeeps, a lot of other vehicles on the lot. $17,000, okay? $800 for that Honda Civic. It's got only 53,000 miles. If that car's more your style, go to chatsports.com/Honda. I'm trying to figure out what cars you guys are looking for, searching. You know that I'm looking too. But if that deal is what you want, go to chatsports.com/Honda. All right, guys, last rumor. It's not even a rumor. I'm not even going to tell you. This one's for Chucky heads, all right? I went online, YouTube, and I watched from the ground up. I guess you can call it a documentary on YouTube. It shows you how they're building the Raiders' new stadium in Las Vegas. And, oh, my Lord. Good thing I'm not on screen because I'm really excited, if you know what I'm saying. The stadium is absolutely beautiful. Beautiful. Now, for me, I was really blown away by it because you could take, like, virtual tours. You could see the cafeterias. You could see the suites. And if anybody wants to see the video of the suite, I put it on my Twitter, which is down below, at Mitchell Renz 365. Go take a virtual tour. Go have some fun. But I'll say this. The stadium is beautiful, and it needs a nickname. Now, we've given out other nicknames in the past to Josh, Max Crosby. So I want to know from everyone watching right now. And the reason why I put this at the end is because I know my most loyal watchers, they watch until the end. And the best nicknames, I'm going to put them on the show for our live Q&A, which will be in prime time on Tuesday. So let's give the new Raiders Stadium a nickname. Throw it in the comments section below. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this. I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.